mentioned yesterday that he felt like if there was any position group that was the most different compared to last year, he thought it was the inside linebackers. What's your assessment of the changes that have been made, and why will it better fit what they're looking to do this year?
Yeah, I think, first of all, there's multiple positions that we've been able to find some talent or take big steps forward with the group of guys that we had here, but certainly inside backer will look a little bit different. Truthfully, we've got a little bit longer. Hopefully, as we see it on the field, we've gotten a little bit more athletic. And like we've had in the past, we've got guys who play violently and play hard. So you're also hoping that, and I believe, the depth will be there where you can play more and more guys. I know there's a lot of guys in the room that believe that they are starter material, and they are, but only two can start. So hopefully we can play a bunch.
Coach, would you mind stepping a little closer to two? Thank you.
When you say play a bunch, what's the most you would have played at inside backer? And where you could keep guys fresh, but also play?
Yeah, the most probably I've ever played is 4 for 2 positions in your normal base down packages, but then there's also been situations where you could get 1 or 2 more in situational packages, whether it's third down or maybe against big personnel groupings or things like that. So, 4 normally, but then you hope with the talent level going up, you can get more in packages.
Obviously you're bringing in a kid who played for you at Cincinnati and Luke and was at Arkansas last year. How involved were you in that recruiting process? I mean, obviously Luke knew him, you knew him in getting him here.
We were involved because of relationships that we built, both of us. I will say, Jaheim, knew us, and ultimately he wanted to be with us, but it's because of relationships. So the recruiting, quote-unquote recruiting process of Jaheim happened for years at Cincinnati. That's when it happened, because of relationships and trust, which take time.
When you look at Jaheim, maybe a bigger inside linebacker, do you envision any of those situational guys
Yeah, I think both of us hope he has situational roles and normal down and distance traditional roles too. And that's what we're really talking to him about is, hey, how fundamentally sound and consistent can he be as a traditional linebacker in those normal situations, and then how can we use his skill set in situational packages. You're exactly right. And you hope you have the tools to do that with multiple guys within the group.
With Austin, I'm just curious, what did you think about the way he held up in the nickel against LSU? Do you see that as a long-term fit for him, or is he going back to safety at some point?
Yeah, so the great thing about it, I thought he learned and played very well. I don't believe anyone would realize that was the first game he played at nickel, right? And that was against some serious skill. We know that. So I thought he did a great job. I think that gives us the tool in the toolbox to be able to play with a big nickel. And there can be times where you want to truly play, quote unquote, a 3-corner, third corner at nickel. And now we have a big physical body that can play that too. If people are trying to swing bubbles and nows out there, or maybe you want to play a little bit more zone or whatever the case is, it gives us more tools because he showed he can handle it.
Is there anything you learned from last year's spring practice that you want to do differently or the same this season?
Yeah, I think that all of us would say, Coach Fick would say, we probably didn't figure out athleticism in space during spring practice as much as we would have liked to, because you're limited in how much you want to tackle in the spring and how much you want to go to the ground. We need to find ways to put people in those space situations, which exposed us a couple times last fall, and really identify so we can improve there. And then also the other thing is you want to find out, we'll do a better job this spring of when it really gets tough, when it's really crunch time, who has that extra to pull out.
As a coach, maybe looking at last year, how did you reflect and look maybe at ways to improve this offseason?
Yeah, I thought that I wish we could have identified our strengths faster. I do think we adapted as the year went on, which happens in year one. I wish it would have happened faster. That's what I look at. Identifying and playing to strengths is something we take pride in, and hopefully we can start with that right off the bat, and any adaptations happen sooner. I look at that. I don't think we affected the quarterback as well, and sometimes it's trying to get more and more people that are great pass rushers, but sometimes it's, hey, what do we need to do in terms of our plan and how much we pressure, what types of pressure to affect the quarterback more. So there were some things we sat back and reflected on without a doubt. And I will say, we're spending time sharing those with the players too, so they know what they are and they're attacking them as well.
You mentioned the importance of dominating the edges on both sides of the ball, for the tackles, tight ends, and the rush guys there. How big of a role defensively will your two outside linebackers play this year? The transfer that you brought in, what do you think they can do in terms of affecting the pass or affecting the running game on the edges?
I think that's huge to our defense as a whole, first of all. So the impact our outside backers have on our defense, regardless of what names or new guys come in, it's absolutely huge. And when you're great, those guys are very, very impactful. I think that John and Leon both have shown that they can have a great impact. They have some natural pass rush, they have some physicality, they have more length than we've had. They've had success at this level of ball already, so they've shown they can do it. And they're here because they want to be a part of this, which is a fantastic feeling too. So they're all in, and I think they will have a huge impact. That position has to.
There have been a couple recent decommits in the next recruiting class. You've been around college football a long time. Do you think it's harder these days to keep kids committed, or is there anything you feel like situations you guys can do differently?
What can you do differently? You know, you look back, anytime something like that happens, you always fall back on how was the relationship and how was the communication. And if you're caught off guard by it, then you probably don't have the relationship and communication that you need to. Sometimes you're not caught off guard by it, and you're battling and fighting the fight the whole time. And I will tell you, in those situations, our mindset is not to go, oh well, damn, we're gonna continue to fight, we're gonna continue to fight, we're gonna continue to fight. We know they fell in love with this place for a reason, and they might have lost track of that vision. We'll help remind them of that vision. But you always look back at it, and especially if you were surprised, question how deep the relationship was and how good was the communication, and with how many people. Did you touch the other people that help those guys make decisions?
So, go back to the inside linebackers. You know, Jake Chaney, I remember you last spring saying that you viewed him as a one and going with Jordan and Luma out there, but then now, you know, he started a bunch of games last year, and now you got a lot of, you infused a lot of talent in that inside linebacker room. Just how have you seen him take on, you know, I know he was a off-season captain, but it's how have you seen him take on a leadership role, but also still compete against others that have come into the room?
So you don't ever have to worry about Jake Chaney competing. I will tell you that. He is the ultimate competitor, as good as we have, and he's one that embraces bringing in other great players because they know that'll just push him, and he's allowed that to push him. He's really self-reflected on last year and the things he's done really well, and pointed out some areas that he really wants to improve on, and as coaches we help him along the way with that, but he wants to do that. That's really big. And last year, to be honest, you had to sort of push him towards leadership. You had to sort of push him to feeling like he's the dude or one of the dudes, and now he's carrying himself that way.
When you talk about the things you wanted to improve on from last year, slow starts were a thing that kind of were a consistent theme. You guys always seem to figure out in the second half, but how do you try to rectify that in the offseason? How do you try to make sure that doesn't become a thing for this program?
So, number one, as we go through spring, right, you don't necessarily have opening scripts, but early in practice and our tempo periods, which often happen early in practice, we're making sure our guys envision those as the starts of ball games, and particularly our tempo periods, because they're not scripted at all, where the guys aren't prepared for what's going to be coming at them. They just have to play football. We're telling the guys, like, this is opening script. Offenses can do stuff that's new install. We don't know what it is. You haven't seen it before. And so we're really attacking those periods. And when we don't perform like we expect, we're comparing those to opening scripts. Number two, I think it's confidence that we're really trying to build on. We got smart dudes, so when it's really understood what the offense's game plan is, and we can point out as coaches, this is how they're attacking us, they handle it really well. But early in the game, you're not going to know that. You just got to believe in yourself, and you got to play your fundamentals, and you got to go. And I think that has a lot to do with confidence and belief at the get-go, and not thinking you need to know what exactly their game plan is. Just know that you can execute.
What's just the plan for Aaron this spring, and what have been your impressions of him over the last year's guy with an injury history that would probably have a lot of guys calling it?
Okay, cut me out as I ask this question. Who did you say?
Aaron Witt.
Aaron Witt. Okay, thank you. I have inside linebacker on the mind right there. What's the plan for him? He is a very, very physical football player, and every rep he's in there impacts the defense because they feel his passion, his intensity, and his physicality. And knock on wood, he's doing a great job right now. You know, health, again, knock on wood, hasn't been any type of an issue. He's doing great, so we're really optimistic that we're going to get to a point where we're not having to worry about rep counts or any of that stuff. You know, rock and roll, and let us feel that passion and physicality out there because it'll make a difference.
What do you think you have with Tackett Curtis based on what you saw on film of him at USC and how he fits into what you'd like to do?
I think he embodies what we're all about. I mean, he's a fantastic kid who off the field does things the right way, but he's an absolute killer on the field in terms of, we talk about effort and attitude. Attitude is the intentions when you get there. He brings nasty intentions on the football field at all times. You've seen that on film. If you watch highlights, he's doing that now. He's also a guy that's just passionate about the game, so whatever's asked of him, he tries to go above and beyond. And you can see his comfort level in what we're doing, grow. But like we talked about Witt, he's the type of guy that impacts people by how hard he plays.
You brought in 3 new inside linebackers in the portal. Do you think it's a little more difficult maybe to, accumulate or assimilate those guys into the team, knowing how important communication is at that position?
So that's what you use this time for. But they're also experienced guys, right? The great thing about those guys coming in is, for the most part, they've played some good ball at this level. But also they're guys that had relationships or ties to Wisconsin football before. So in terms of the culture, it's not like you're bringing in a bunch of new guys that nobody knew who they were. And we have a jump start in terms of the trust and communication. So yes, we're working on that. Yes, that's always a challenge with new guys, but we feel like we got a good head start.
Corner depth was something that maybe was a little difficult for this defense last season. Do you feel like those young guys that maybe needed to get those practice reps last year are getting closer to being able to contribute on Saturday?
So I'm really excited, first of all, about RJ Delancey, who's in here with us. He's doing a great job right now. I'm really excited about him. We're very businesslike. The young guys have taken a step forward. There's no doubt about it. So that's very good as well. We also really like our corner class.